G'day viewers, this is Troy from Troy's Visual Arts channel. I've been working on the lens section of my Iconoscope camera project. Basically, since I had to make some adjustments after deciding on using this Plumicon tube yoke as the deflection yoke for the Iconoscope tube, and finding that the tube itself sits down a bit too low, I had to do away with the original lens that I have here and use a lens that can be seated a lot lower to be able to center the image across the mosaic of the Iconoscope tube. So I'm being a bit more knowledgeable on the optical side of things and with film cameras and stuff, and thinking about my bellows 120 and 116 cameras, I thought maybe just a single lens would do the trick. So a single small lens, that is. So I chose one of my magnifying glass lenses that's of a smaller size, and I assembled it together. Inside, would you believe, casing for a 6-volt ever-ready battery. This is a 6-volt battery casing, and I've covered it in gaffer tape, and I've glued the lens in with some foam pieces to secure it in center. I've lined the inside with cardboard so you don't get metal reflections off the metal, causing spurious light reflections to the tube. And I've pretty much butchered together a housing for the lens so it sits in nice and snug, and I can rack it back and forth. I had to adapt this to the racking. To put a bit of metal on here, stick it with epoxy resin. I put a cardboard hood so this lens piece can sit in place, and I've used cable ties to hold it in place, and to block out as much of the light as possible I used some craft foam, the same foam I've been using on the lens and the yoke and other parts. And so yeah, I pretty much cut it out as best as possible to the shape of where it's needs to be fitted. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. Anyway, so that's my makeshift setup for a smaller lens, which will be good enough to block out most of the light and display a picture. And I'm just going to seat this back in. As it's a rough setup, I've got to jimmy it in there. So basically how this lens is going to work is to focus, I'm pretty much just going to manually move it back and forth till I get the focus that I want. And yeah, as you can see, it nicely focuses a large picture, which will cover the area of the Iconoscope tube's mosaic plus more. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the results. The intensity of the amount of light coming through is somewhat less than that of the other lens setup that I have here, but nonetheless the image is a lot more in focus. There's no there's no focal aberrations or anything like that. I think that's what it's called, where you get this picture distortions. So yeah, hopefully the amount of light coming in here will be enough, will be enough for the Iconoscope tube to pick up if the tube is in a workable condition. So yeah, that's the latest update with my Iconoscope tube project. Now, as mentioned, I've got the power supplies all set up, or mostly set up. Yeah, I've got to sort out this preamp issue where I'm just getting spurious noise coming through when I stick a couple of leads on the inputs, which causes a kind of rough looking sine wave. I'm thinking of trying to stick this preamp straight onto the tube's target output cap. The only thing is I've got to work out how I can connect it without having to put solder on the cap itself. So that's one thing I've got to work out. Anyway, and yeah, all the video boards and the video board and the deflection board are still sitting in box. I'll eventually connect them up on the inside here. The deflection board goes here and the video board goes up underneath this enclosure here. Anyway, that's pretty much about it. So yeah, this camera's really starting to take form, and yeah, I'm quite happy that I've made this much progress with it. Anyway, stay tuned for the next video update. This is Troy from my Troy's Visual Arts channel, signing out.